thank you. I want to call the Hopkinton Town Council meeting of April 2nd, 2018 to order. With a moment of silent meditation and salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. First up, consent agenda. Approved Town Council meeting minutes of March 19th, 2018. Executive session minutes of March 19th, 2018. Budget workshop notes of February 26th, 2018. Budget workshop notes of March 8th, 2018. Budget workshop notes of March 14th, 2018. Accept the March 5th, 2018 transcript as a record of the Oak Square Partners and Emio Holdings decision. Approve refunds resulting from the motor vehicle phase-out program and a motor vehicle abatement submitted by the tax collector. Approve abatements due to motor vehicle adjustments submitted by the tax assessor.
I'd just like to pull the March 5th, 2018.
Okay.
Motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda as read, except for the March 5th, 2018 transcript.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. What page?
No page.
Oh.
A motion to accept the March 5th, 2018 transcript as the record of Oak Square Partners. I have to abstain.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, motion made in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions?
Abstain, yeah.
All right. Great. Looks like we're at first public forum. Anyone wishing to be heard?
Scott Billhurst, 20 Maple Court, Ashwood. Normally I will address the council and say something of a social nature, but I do rise on a very serious topic, and that is in regard to the funding of the ambulance in town. And as you, I think I pointed out in an email, there's only one person in the town's history that's been on the governing board of the Ashway Fire District, the Board of Fire Commissioners, and the Hopkinton Town Council. That's myself. So I'm in a unique position with that experience to, I think, comment on funding of the ambulance by a fire district and as well as the town of Hopkinton. And also I served on the finance board when we had one. And I take exception to the vote last week at the Ashway Fire District special meeting. I was at work at Walmart, so obviously I was there working, but I don't miss too many important things that go on in Hopkinton. And I object to that vote. Specifically, I think what we have to remember is the history of the funding of ambulance service in the town of Hopkinton. We have two ambulance services in the town of Hopkinton, one in the northern end of town, Hope Valley Ambulance Board, and of course the Ashway Ambulance Association. The ambulance in Hope Valley is a lot older, it's about 20 years older. It was originally part of the fire department and then became independent. And then in '71, the Ashway Ambulance Association was formed. What people need to remember is historically, the ambulance is not part of the fire department. The law that creates the Ashway Fire District only mentions rescue, it doesn't say ambulance service. Years ago, and I was trying to locate that, as you know, in the email that I sent you, that I tried to locate when we had a referendum. It was a referendum on an actual vote where people went to the fire station and actually voted whether or not to include the ambulance association as part of the fire district. That was rejected by the voters. And I think it's inappropriate for a fire district to be involved in ambulance funding. First of all, the vote last week, and I assume that the lawyers of the fire district believed it was proper. I'm not a lawyer and I'm not going to debate that point, but the fact of the matter is that it creates an inconsistency in the town of Hopkinton as far as funding for ambulance. Because the Hope Valley Wyoming Fire District does not support financially their ambulance corps. So now you have a situation where a loan was floated to the Ashway Ambulance Association from the Ashway Fire District which is a taxing authority. It's actually a special district. It's a government entity, just like the whole Valley Wyoming Fire District is a private entity. And I think it's inappropriate for them to take money, and I don't know where it comes from, I assume surplus, to float this loan. I think it begs the question of who's going to pay the interest, and also, it was also assumption, if I read the press accounts correctly, that they expected the town of Hopkinton to return, come up with the money that's loaned to the Ashway Fire District from the town of Hopkinton. I'm going to say right now that I am a candidate for Hopkinton Town Council in November, and I do not support, and will not support, short of a court order, reimbursing the Ashway Fire District for any funds that were loaned from the Ashway Fire District, the Ashway Ambulance Association. The town should not be reimbursing them for that vote last week if it comes to that short of a court order. Very frankly, I'm concerned that there was a mailing that went out and it was signed Ashway Fire District. Well, and in that piece that was sent out, it also advocated a point of view. And the big question is, should a government entity send out a mailing advocating how people should vote? It's one thing to have, like the Secretary of State has on referendums, to explain what people are voting on. But to have an advocacy piece, either way, I think is inappropriate for a government body, because you have taxpayers that have both views. And it's an appropriate use of taxpayers' money. Maybe legally it's permissible, but I think it's a questionable practice. I would hope that whatever happens, the real key to ambulance service in this town should be in what's in the best interest of the public health and safety of the residents of this town. That's a responsibility of the town council. And I'm concerned about the inconsistency of having funding in one section of town, because you got to remember that when you have the budget of this town, which is paid for by all the taxpayers in this town, there's an inconsistency if you have a fire district giving money to one ambulance and the other fire district doesn't, because the funding from the ambulance comes from all the taxpayers in the town. And I question that practice. And with that, I would urge the town council to hold their feet to the fire. And I will say something positive about the Wesley Sun, because I am critical of the Wesley Sun. But in their editorial today, they made some good points about the fact that the Ashway Ambulance Association should come forward with some of the requests of the town council on reports and things of that nature, which is only reasonable, because you're going to have a sense of consistency between all nonprofit groups in town, or all, organizations. Otherwise, you're not even-handed in that way. And I wish the Ashway Ambulance Association well. It puts me in a bad position politically because I do well in Ashway. But the big question is, how is the Ashway area, which I lived in for 64 years, almost 65 years, and a few months, several months, how are they best served? And that's the real question. And that's the only standard that this council and this community should make a judgment on. So with that, I will sit down. But I just want to say one other final thing, that this, in the law that creates it, I believe it's 410, it specifically states the fire district will employ a rescue, but usually a rescue is like going out in a river, if somebody was in a canoe and a capsized, that's usually what would be considered rescue, not an ambulance per se. So I'm sure maybe some lawyers would say ambulance would be covered under that, but I submit the history of the voters of Ashway in a referendum, not a regular meeting, where they rejected including the ambulance into the Ashway Fire District. I'm a little concerned about talk or discussions or suggestions being made that the ambulance would become part of the fire district, because it would create an imbalance and an inconsistency about ambulance service throughout the town. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
Okay. New business, first item under new business, discuss and consider setting April 23rd, 2018 as a date for a joint town council planning board workshop. Mr. Diorio is in the audience?
Does it work for everybody? I won't be there.
Okay.
Works for me, I'm okay.
Okay, what are you thinking, 6:30 guys?
Yeah.
Okay. Lisa?
Yes, that's fine.
Al, 6:30 on 4/23.
Delighted, thank you.
Okay. Number 2, under new business, discuss, consider, and vote to adopt a resolution in opposition to House Bill 7198 and House Bill 7379, an act relating to labor and labor relations, arbitration, continuance of contractual provisions. Phil, I know I didn't prep you on this, but can you just kind of speak to why this may be a disadvantage to us as a governing body to have this continue? I think it puts us at a distinct disadvantage when you're negotiating a contract. You know, I kind of defer to you on that.
It does put the town and city at a significant disadvantage. The difference being that even though many times contracts are not agreed upon until after the ending date, under the evergreen provisions, those provisions would stay, but you would not be able to reduce them. Whereas if a contract expires on June 30th and there are no evergreen provisions, I mean, we still pay our employees for working, but we still can negotiate savings in different areas that are lower than what they're receiving right now.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Do you guys have any questions on that particular?
No?
Seems like it makes sense.
I move that we adopt the resolution in opposition to H7198 and H7397. Excuse me, 7379. Second.
Okay, motion been second. Any further discussion? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Next, boards and commissions. Discuss, consider, and vote to appoint Ron Hurwitz to the planning board.
We got a member for the planning board.
Yeah, definitely.
The motion was made and
Second.
seconded. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
You're
Aye.
gonna like this fellow.
No, lots of experience.
Well, thank you very much, we appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. Thanks, Ron, for stepping up. Any last public forum?
Oh, he's here.
I'll give it a little wait.
Last public forum, anyone wishing to be heard tonight? Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.